Morning, everyone. It's Tuesday morning, the 20th, and this is video number 720. And we look a little soft here this morning. Asia was about unchanged, although Japan was down a full 2%, and Europe is slightly lower for a multitude of reasons, not the least of which is continuing COVID issues. We had a bunch of earnings going back to last night. We had IBM, which got up to about 139, is currently trading 136.30, and that's up 318. Still better than it generally does. This is a serial disappointer, and this morning it's up 3%. UAL was a miss and a loss. It was trading around 53.03 last night. Today it's 53.02. down $1.97, or 3.6%. What I found interesting was the comment made by the CEO this morning on CNBC that the problem with the Boeing planes is not a big deal. Well, he's saying by the end of the month they should have it under control. So originally, it was a couple of hours to a day, then it was a couple of days. Now it's month end, which is 10 days from now. So I hope that we're not getting into another Boeing issue. But everybody talking about a quick fix was quite premature. Procter & Gamble beat top and bottom, but the stock is lower, 135.5 down $1.09. Travelers was a miss, top and bottom. It was trading at 156 initially, up about $1.62. It's currently $153.75, down 58 cents, so a $2.50 reversal. Johnson & Johnson beat top and bottom, but there's so much news on that it has absolutely no meaning to the price of the stock, which is 162 down 69%. In the cannabis space, there's a little bit of strength, not as much as I would have expected, since Congress has passed a banking bill for cannabis. It goes to the Senate now, and after all of the hoopla about on our first day we'll decriminalize and nationalize cannabis, it's questionable whether or not it can get through the Senate. And without banking, there is no industry. On the Bitcoin crypto area, we have the first Ethereum ETF. It's not being listed here, I don't think, but it is being introduced in Canada. Starts trading today. So we'll see how that does. In fact, Ethereum and Bitcoin are higher today, and a lot of the secondary coins are actually lower by 1% or 2%. Okay, the big winner of the day is Kansas City Southern. It was going to be taken over by Canadian Pacific at $2.75. Now Canadian National has come out with a $3.25 bid for it. The stock bounced up to $3.18 immediately, and the last is $2.92 3/4, up 37.51. And the issue that everybody is looking at, because the stock is up, it was up over 18%. Actually, it was up over 22%, and is now up about 16%. The issue is, are Canadian National and Canadian Pacific going to get into a bidding war for this property? It is one of the smaller ones, but it also is one of the better run ones. And after the close today, we have Netflix earnings, and that stock actually looks pretty interesting to me. I think it could have a pop here. I don't play earnings. I never suggest to play earnings, but this was on my list on Sunday night of stocks that I found to be interesting, and it looked to me like Netflix was just looking for an excuse to put on another leg to the upside. And at, I believe, noon our time, no, I believe 1 o'clock our time, there is an Apple event that the speculation is that it's all about new iPad models. So we'll see what that looks like. Actually, Apple was up yesterday while all of the other mega cap and technology stocks were lower. The chart on the screen is the gold. It has not violated yet, but it also hasn't broken. Well, I mean, it broke out a little here, but it has really not turned to the upside. Now, we did have the cross back here about 8 or 9 days ago when the price was 17 and a quarter, and we talked about 17 and a quarter being the best area of support in this area here. And we did move up all the way to 1784, 1785, but we have since backed down. Again, we haven't really violated it. The 5 day is now gone through the 20 and the 50. So, we really need to see this move well above this 1790 area. What we really need to see is a close over this area around 1818 to 1820. And I'm just going to show you one more. It looks to me, and I'll explain why, it looks to me like the lumber is actually getting to a position where it's just not sustainable for a number of reasons. But the main reason is the volume and open interest. This purple line is the open interest, and as you can see, it looked like it was under accumulation. When the price is generally moving higher and open interest is moving higher, that generally signifies new buying. When it took off here and moved up, it also continued to be new buying. We went sideways and the open interest was kind of indecisive. Now, on this run from 1,000, or let's call it 975 where it broke out, this move from 975 to yesterday's high and close of 1326.70 has occurred on increased volume but declining open interest. At some point we're going to see this move lower. And I think we're getting to a place where that looks more and more likely. Now, just a quick note, Dennis has been trading this, and he's actually traded it from the short side on Friday and made about $3,300 a contract. I believe a contract margin is about $7,000 or $8,000. But what was interesting to me was that Dennis did not trade the front month. What he traded was a back month, and the back months are a lot more interesting. The back months are actually lower in price. So we get into the fact that there is a shortage now, but there doesn't necessarily seem to be a shortage out in the distance. So that is of concern to me on the long side. On the long side of Rayonier, which we bought in the stocks for total return about a week and a half ago, around 32, grabbed a quick dividend, and that one I believe is in the 37 neighborhood. The symbol is RYN, and it closed exactly at 37. And I think that as an REIT having to pass through 90%, that makes it pretty interesting regardless of the short-term nature of the contract trading. This is a commodity that is up more than substantially. It's up 300%, up 400% from the recent lows a year ago at 250. And so I think that an REIT that is in the business of lumber will probably see sustained high selling prices regardless of how much more comes on the market. I don't think that we're going back to 200 or 250 or 300 a board foot for lumber, not with the amount of demand from housing and the demand for housing. So that's what I have to say. The futures have been sloppy, been all over the place today. S&P right now is down about 12 and a half. The Dow futures look to be down about 113. They were as low as down 158 a little while ago. And the NASDAQ futures are barely changed at down 30, and they were down about 80 earlier. One more that I mentioned last night that I want to mention again, ALTRIA, MO, Philip Morris, or the cigarette side of Philip Morris, down hard yesterday, about $4, down 275 today on the news that Washington says that they may limit the amount of nicotine in cigarettes. All right, everyone, have a good morning. Be careful out there. Don't trade the Netflix on the earnings alone. And if you do, don't trade the stock. Trade a cheap option or a spread.